All right. Hey, everybody. Chad Graham here from the Woody Williams Foundation. We are bringing back, by popular demand, the Cause is Greater Than I conversation series. And we couldn't think of a better person to kick this off with as we bring this back, but our dear friend, Darren Davis from RDC Shoes. Darren, thank you for being a part of this today.
Oh, thank you. It's such an honor.
Well, Darren is himself a proud veteran of the United States Marine Corps, as well as a veteran of law enforcement. And from personal experience, I can say that Darren has never dropped his pack and continues to really put his shoulder behind serving others and embracing that ethos of the cause is greater than I. So today we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things and the projects that Darren is doing to help Gold Star families through the Woody Williams Foundation and help so many other people through RDC Shoes. So Darren, tell us about RDC and the history of how you got this idea and what you're doing with these shoes that are going to benefit so many people.
So it's kind of a crazy story. I won't go long-winded this one. I'll try to make it as short as possible. But I played professional tennis, Marine, police officer. And I went to a tennis store. I strung rackets at the U.S. Open. And that's how it kind of all got started. I was at the U.S. Open in 2001 with my wife, and she left a couple of days early. And then everybody knows what happens on September 11th. The towers fell, and the world just changed overnight. So 3 days later, I came back home, and my wife took a Sharpie marker and fabric paint. Me being a Marine, I wanted to show my patriotism. Everyone had shoes on, or they had shirts on and hats on, and everything else. I was like, but I, as a tennis player, always wore white tennis shoes, and we used to color them for our kids. So if they'd have a tournament, I'd say, "Oh, those are my kids," because they got the color of their shoes. So my wife, being as brilliant as she is, and the artist as she is, she took fabric paint back here for the stars, and she took a Sharpie marker for the stripes, and she made the shoe. So about a week later, Leland Hardy, who was Venus and Serena's manager, came by and said, "Hey, I saw your shoes. Those are incredible. I need to get about 1,000,000 pairs. I have a friend of mine that works at Foot Locker, and we need to get those done." I said, "What do you mean? There's just a drawing." And he didn't know they were drawing. He thought I actually made these shoes. So long story short, I got them trademarked. So I have a trademark on the shoes, what they call a design patent. And then I housed them for many years because Nike, Fila, Adidas, and Reebok, they all wanted the shoe, but they only give $25,000 for an idea. Then it's theirs, and you don't see anything more from that. And I was like, well, that's not what I want to do. I want to find a cause one day. So fast forward 2018, I met you. I think it's 2018 or 2019 when you guys were in Romulus, New York, with Gary Bykirk. And so what I did was I met you first because Woody was talking and everybody wanted to be around Woody. And then he saw my Marine shirt on, came over and gave me a big hug. Never met the guy in my life, and he, in front of everybody, just pulled everyone else aside and came up to me and gave me a big hug. And it's December 5. I'm like, this guy with the Iwo Jima is giving me a hug for being a Marine. This is incredible. So I knew right then and there it's just something electric about your grandpa. So about 2 years later, I remember I got in touch with you a couple times, some emails. I got some coins from you. I bought some just to kind of give some money back to the foundation. And then I had a dream, and I woke up in a sweat, and I was like, I know how to help Chad. I know how to help Woody. So that's when I called you about the idea. I think I emailed you also. I had the design, and that's how it kind of got started of what we want to do for the foundation. And then I got to, I think you and I corresponded a couple times about it. And then I got to go down and see Woody down in West Virginia, show him the shoes, and I got his seal of approval, which to me meant the world. It just validated everything I did. And then Woody could make it in 2021 at the Boston Medal of Honor convention. So I went there, met with a lot of the recipients that loved the idea. And then I met with Amy West. Amy West is a recipient's daughter. And I guess when they pass away, they have a memorial at the society that year. And then she was telling me at the dinner that no one's going to remember her dad anymore. And I was like, what happened? And she says, well, when they pass away, people just tend to forget. They don't, he's not in the spotlight anymore. So people forget his story. That's when I came up with the story of the cards. So in every one of our boxes that we do that has Woody on there, it has the Medal of Honor Society on there. You have our glory shoes. We also have a Medal of Honor recipient's card in there, which tells the story. I think I did 4 for your grandpa because I could do many of him, but I did 4 of him, and I think we're up to 38 to 40 Medal of Honor recipients. So every time you get a box of shoes from us, you also get a story of a recipient, which I think is phenomenal. And then $10 goes back to the Woody Williams Foundation for every purchase, and $10 goes back to the Medal of Honor Society. So that's our way of giving back. But we don't want to just stop there. We think with shoes coming out later on and different, um, we're gonna have different designs and everything else. We're always gonna be part of the Woody Williams Foundation for the next 99 years, or as long as I have a breath in me. You guys will definitely be part of it.
Wonderful. And Darren, you talked about Romulus, and of course that was the day that we dedicated the Gold Star Families Memorial Monument there in Romulus, New York, which is in your neck of the woods, so to speak. And just talk a little bit about why it's important in your mind and why you're so passionate in supporting our foundation because of these families that we serve.
Well, I've never. So my wife is the one who said, "Hey, you want to meet a Iwo Jima Medal of Honor recipient?" I said, "Sure, that'd be great." So she said, "Well, they do a Gold Star monument there." I said, "What is it?" So I knew nothing about what was going on. So when I went there, it was beautiful. I mean, there were so many people there for this dedication of this monument, and I was waiting to see Woody come out, and I saw Gary Bykirk over there and the families, and then I got to meet with Deb and Dan Dunham were there, Jason Dunham's parents, and I got to talk to them for a little while, and I just didn't know the significance of it. So when they unveiled that monument, like people were crying, people were. I think they put was it a yellow rose they were putting on the monument, and the pictures of their kids, and I was like bawling. And then I started to realize, listening to, I think it was a captain that was a pastor that day, was just explaining the significance of the monuments and what it means to these families. And then Woody got up there and spoke. And Woody so eloquently just said, it's not about us, it's about them and the families. And it hit home that these people can't always travel to Arlington to go see their loved ones. So they wanted something closer, something that was theirs that they could touch and feel and be part of. And that's what this was. And just learning more about the story from Woody that day just really made me want to be a part of this. And I didn't get the whole thing about the monuments, but now I just can't see how people don't do it everywhere, because it's just so important for these families, and they've given up so much of their family for America, and they're grieving every day. And I never knew that until I saw that monument. I just saw people just crying and just the affection, and they were just so proud of that monument. It's just phenomenal.
Wonderful. And of course, by you being a part of supporting the foundation, you are supporting each one of those family members. And as we have heard from not only from my granddad, from Woody, from other recipients, they wear that medal not for them. As you mentioned, something that Woody was very outspoken about was that he wore that medal for those that didn't get to come home. And so the idea for you to put together recipients and to carry their stories of service forward, as well as support these families, I think it's a wonderful way to put those together, because so many of these recipients carry those stories with them, with that medal. And so, Darren, you showed us the shoe there just a minute ago. If you can show the folks that shoe once again, and just tell us a little bit about how folks can get their hands on this wonderful shoe, which, from, as you mentioned, what was an idea is now a living, breathing, full scale line of what is RDC shoes and apparel. If you could talk about what the status of that is and how people can get their hands on some.
So we're doing a limited edition. We did 4,000 shoes this time. We call it the first edition. So could you imagine if you owned the first pair of the Air Jordans that came out? You'd be pretty well off right now, right? So if there was, so our whole thing is RDC stands for Regina, Darren, and Chase. It's me, my wife, and my son. That's how I did it. And glory is twice on the shoe. So glory is our logo because it's Old Glory, the flag. And then glory on the back is for the glory for God. So we give all our thanks to God anyway, because we wouldn't have a great nation if it wasn't for God. The biggest thing that really hit me during that whole monument ceremony, and just talking to Woody and other recipients, and I think you said it best at his funeral, was that medal is the heaviest medal there is. It's not about the weight of it; it's the weight that it represents. No recipient that received that medal, I hate when people say winning. They never won the medal; they earned the medal, but it was never for them. It was always like what he always says: it's for the two Marines that died next to him. A recipient that earned that medal never got that medal on a good day. They got it on their worst day of their life. And every day, and people don't understand this, every day that they wear that medal and they go somewhere, they have to tell that story over and over and over again. So they can never bury that story of what happened to them. A lot of people, when they get out of the military, they get to go home and they can just forget about a lot of things or try to forget, right? So they do it from different ways. But a Medal of Honor recipient lives with that every day because everyone asks their story, and it's a big burden on them. And I think the medal is more of a burden. It takes a special, very special person to wear that medal because it's so heavy of a medal. The burden is just so big for them. And people like your grandpa Woody and Gary Bykirk and people like that are just phenomenal, and it's why they earn that medal, because they are just above and beyond anyone I've ever met. They are phenomenal. But if you want to get a pair of our shoes and help with the Woody Williams Foundation or the Medal of Honor Society, you can go to www.rdcshoes.com. Very simple. We have stories in there. I have a video on there. If you have any questions, I actually have my personal phone number there. I have my personal email in there. You can contact me anytime. We're very personable. Our main goal and our mission is to give back to help Woody and the Gold Star families, and for here on out. So we're hoping to sell these 4,000 shoes out pretty quick, and then get another batch of designs out there. And RDC Shoes is going to be a brand that's going to be around here for a long time, giving back to Woody, Medal of Honor Society, and other charities for the military.
Wonderful. And as I said at the top of our conversation, you're embracing that cause that is greater than any of us. And of course, that is our Gold Star families. And thank you once again, Darren, for your time today. We'll put a link when we post this video so that folks can go out and get themselves a pair of those beautiful shoes, RDC shoes, Glory shoes. Thank you once again, bringing back the Cause is Greater Than I conversation series. We'll talk to you soon, Darren. Thanks again.
Thanks, Chad. You have a great day.